All right, that is the Sony PlayStation press conference, wrapping up with all things Spider-Man, which is a great big PlayStation exclusive that's coming out the end of this year. And joining me once again to break down all the biggest moments are Boogie2988, Andy Mack, Brandon Jones, and new guest, Atomic Mari from Smosh. So guys, we talked a lot about what we were hoping to see from PlayStation, a very different format to sort of how they put it all together. First, kind of snap judgments, gut reactions. Brandon, what was your take?
Got off to a little bit of a false start. They really like to experiment with the Sony conferences. So yeah, it was a little weird to start. I feel the impact that we got from seeing the Last of Us demo within the actual venue that they were demonstrating was probably really impactful for the people that were there, kind of confusing to people watching at home. But then it really picked up, and I thought they had a lot of really great announcements. And great games, too. A lot of great gameplay that we saw. Andy, leading into this, you were hoping for some other big things. What was your take on how Sony did this year?
Well, I mean, anytime you get a little Resident Evil in there, right? A new Remedy game. I mean, they certainly had some surprises over and above what was there. But I think one of the things that shocked me there was, one, Spider-Man looks like a lot of fun. Like, Spider-Man looks like crazy, crazy fun.
And epic and big. And that was,
I mean, it went from inside to outside on top of water. I mean, like, insane. And then also Ghosts, I mean, I didn't understand the gameplay there in Ghosts, but that was a absolutely gorgeous looking game.
Angely beautiful, like the art style.
And The Last of Us, Naughty Dog still does things that, I mean, that thing was so intense and insane right there. I had to look away. Again, they keep making me look away.
They definitely...
They want me to look away from the screen.
Push the limits. Kojima, definitely getting a little more horror focused on Death Stranding. Atomic Mari, what stood out to you at the PlayStation press conference?
I think trailer after trailer, seeing these beautiful cinematic gameplay, I think that's what Sony does so well, and I think that's what they keep hitting us with. I am so excited for Ghost, of course, and Spider-Man looked epic. I mean, I think it's everything that we love about these superhero games, but with that added Spider-Man flair and his sense of humor that kind of brings us all back to why we loved, superheroes as a kid. They're relatable and they're fun.
Yeah, that game looks incredible and coming this year. Didn't get a lot of release dates for the other ones, but we got to see at least content on them. Boogie, break it down for me. Is Francis happy?
My adrenaline is still pumping. That was incredible. That show started off so weird and a little weak, and I was like, is this Ubisoft I'm watching? It's a little cringy or something, but when it got strong, I mean, The Last of Us, I'm at a point with Last of Us, I don't want to see gameplay anymore. I just want to play it. Just let me play the game. But everything they showed there, I was compelled. I was glued to the screen. Death Stranding, I want to talk about you. You shot out of your chair.
I was excited because I didn't see anything on it. And it was like, we got to see some in-engine stuff, it looks like. Obviously questions about like what you're doing, while
There's
walking.
A lot of questions about what you're doing.
So, a lot of walking around, but what's the actual...
It was so electric in here when the Death Stranding started going, and you were adding to my adrenaline. So as a Spider fan, I have been hesitant to want this game, to like this game, but everything they showed there is like on the mark, and my big thought is, what will be the villain? What will be the villain? All the good villains are all here.
That's why they've got so much in there, and I've heard from the guys in Insomniac, there's a lot of story cutscenes in this game. Like it's a really rich, like Batman Arkham level of storytelling in it. So it looks amazing. Anything that they could have done better, do you think? What did you want from Sony that you didn't get?
I just need release dates, man. Can I please just have release dates? That's all I want in the world.
We obviously knew Spider-Man was coming out, Days Gone, but unless I missed it, didn't seem like there was even years on some, Death Stranding or Last of Us or any of those titles.
I mean, I like release dates. I certainly love them, but I mean, I think it's always like, I think the games are the most important thing. So like sometimes if you're not ready, and you still need to, they still need to, cook a little bit more. I am pro making the best game you can. So I want them, I do, but I mean, I want the games to be great. So I always try to remember that when I think about that. But I thought I did think we were gonna get The Last of Us date today. I did.
Or a year at least, right?
Yeah, and we didn't, but I mean, what they're doing, I mean, the way the world looked, I mean, the way the trees looked on that game, and even Ghosts, like, I mean, just the technology, the way they're pushing it right now is impressive.
Absolutely.
And I don't even know how I would control Ellie in that game. I mean, there was just so much going on where she was hiding, like how she was attacking, all the melee stuff. I mean, the dodging that we commented on when we were watching it.
Just really minute little gameplay moments. Of her going back, jumping over, the moment he throws her through the glass, hearing them react to where she is, trying to find her. The moment where they both kind of popped in the doorway of the store with the flashlights and looked around, like, seems choreographed, seems rehearsed, seems like it was planned to be that, but then something happens that seems completely spontaneous at the same time, so.
No, lots of great gameplay overall, but no Red Dead. Andy, you wanted
yeah, we're fine. You know, it happens.
I want to say with Last of Us, the first game, as much as I love the gameplay was the weakest part, honestly. Yeah. The story is incredible, the world building is incredible, everything about it is incredible, but the gameplay is the weakest part. And with The Last of Us 2, with what they showed today, the gameplay seems so much more improved, and it has me so much more excited because I know the story is going to be good, the voice acting will be incredible, everything about it will be good. If the gameplay is good, then it's the perfect game. It's just the perfect game.
Yeah, you're right. And Naughty Dog, I think you said it, evolving it, Last of Us is kind of an evolution of Uncharted, but this feels like sort of a real revolution in terms of how they're building the combat and the gameplay, so we're excited about that. Now, if you guys were to give PlayStation a grade in terms of A, B, C, D, how would you rate the PlayStation press conference, Brandon?
I really liked that we got good looks at these games. We were talking about Xbox earlier, and I like that they rattled off a bunch of announcements, but it's really nice to just get these long glances at these things. They're very honest. Yeah. My head is just swimming from what we saw with Death Stranding, so I'll probably settle it at a B, maybe a B- if I can, if you'll allow it.
Yeah, you can do
just because that opening was bizarre, but I think they picked really good moments of these games.
Andy, what was your take?
Yeah, I mean, I think, those are my favorite. I love long, like the long.
You see the
pause.
real game. It's not just like a 90-second trailer. You're getting like a true sense of the gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I want to get from it. So I feel like for only the 4 games, I really got a great experience. And then for the other games, they just seem so breezy, I guess, at that point, which seems kind of crazy to say about like a Resident Evil trailer or something like that. But I think it's kind of a balance, right? If you're going to go full in the other direction, it's finding that balance. And I think this year they maybe didn't have it perfected yet. Yeah. But there is something there. I really like seeing the games at this level, but I also like seeing the developers talk. You know what I mean? I would have loved to have a little bit of scene setting from them to make it a little bit more interesting, I think, from my perspective. But it's hard to complain. It's a great look at those 4 games, but it probably is in the B range. I mean, it just had kind of weird pauses in it. You know what I mean? When it went to the desk at the beginning.
That was a little odd because I think based on people I was talking to there, I guess they were moving from one tent to the next. But I think for us watching the stream here in the studio, it was a little hard to understand exactly what was happening at that point.
You could have almost thought it was over at that point.
Right, like post-show.
Like the post-game,
But anyways, then he said it moved to that other venue for the entire rest of the presentation, which seemed to work out.
And that's when it started cooking, to your point. Like, that's when you started, like, everything started to flow, and you just kind of went from game to game to game, and that's when it really picked up.
Very cool. Marnie, what's the score?
Yeah, I second the wanting to hear from the devs. I think that the long trailers are wonderful and it's great, but it seemed a little bit fragmented without having, like almost like closure in between each of the trailers that we saw. I'd give it a B-. I would have liked a little bit more of a flow to the show.
All right. Boogie, what was your take?
Well, I'm a harsh critic. And I give it a C+ because, again, I got a lot of great games and a lot of great things to look forward to, but the presentation was off and it felt disjointed and weird. The last couple of years, they've had trouble with sound. I see a lot of people on Twitter saying they were getting double sound issues right at the beginning of the stream. And the bit of the front just didn't fit an E3 presentation. I love Sid. I love everybody who was on the stage, but it just feels weird and awkward. But again, this is a lot of big promises. But when as a gamer, I want to play. Now, I've got Spider-Man to look forward to this weekend and Death Stranding. I don't care how long it takes. A wise man once said, a rushed game is, bad forever, but a game that they take the time, it's good forever, right? And so I really just want these games to come out when they're ready and when they are good. But you don't have anything for the show, right? I need at least a schedule. I need release dates. I need to have an idea of what to look
and also wondering, what's actually going to be playable on the show floor, because tomorrow the E3 show floor opens over at the LA Convention Center. And, we see all these games at these press conferences, but it's like, what are we actually going to get to play? And I'm curious, out of all that Sony stuff, you would hope Spider-Man would be playable since it's coming out, this fall. But out of all those other games, like, I don't know, but I doubt we're going to get to play The Last of Us 2 or Death Stranding or any of those games at E3. So I'll be curious to see what we can actually play.
I always go into E3 trying to temper my hype, and I'm telling you, my heart is still beating 90 beats a minute, 100 beats a minute right now from that show. But I know, as a gamer who's been burnt over and over again in his whole life, I have to wait for the release dates. I have to know when it's out. But the adrenaline is still kicking right now. It's so good. This looks so good. It was a great show.